Hello, my beloved ones. Welcome back again to my channel. It's your girl Glee. So, today it's another prophetic update for this month of October. So, yesterday I've had some revelations and downloads from God, and I've listed some parts of it, but then I stopped because God wanted me to do it on the spot so that the Spirit could flow. So, I just trust Him with that. Okay, so now I'll be reading some of what I've wrote down yesterday. So I will continue with where I left off. So for everyone here who's tuning in, if this resonates or if God is speaking to you through what I'm saying, this is prophetic and also a word of knowledge, then comment down below and receive it. So let's start. So I'm seeing this brand new start for a lot of you here, and like literally the engine of a vehicle. I saw it yesterday, like literally a vehicle was driving to a new destination, to a new place, and a new direction, a new phase, or perhaps a new endeavor, or a job or a community. Even for some, a new family member, like a baby. And I would see that people are being propelled to their destinies, and you feel that inside of you for a lot of you here. So it may manifest as being sleepy or tired all the time because of all these shiftings and all this release of old paradigms, patterns, and receiving the new. So I would also see packages and certain gifts, like literal gifts, being given to some of you, and it brings a lot of overwhelming feelings for some, like an answered prayer. So I would see that angels are now sending blueprints and scrolls for new missions and assignments for a lot of you. And so it is the time to let go of old mindsets and old way of thinking, just so that you can embrace and co-create with the new that God wants you to co-create. So I also have been right now I'm seeing all these water flowing from the heavens, and I would see that this is like healing from the residues of the warfare that a lot of you has experienced with this new shift that you are encountering. So you have gone and you have actually crossed from the Red Sea, kind of the Red Sea. You've crossed, but then there's still those residues that you're feeling, and it makes you feel uncomfortable even if you're walking in the new. So let's go ahead and shake that off. Lord, we just release the refreshing waters from the heavens to remove all the residues and all those left behind emotions from the past warfares before this new season, so that they can no longer bring it to the next one. And then there's also some of you here that have been called to a lot of new platforms, I guess. What I mean is, it's not like, the usual platforms. It could be in different streams. Like I would see motivational speaking, or for some, even like maybe pastoral, or for some, it's more on like entrepreneur speaking, like you're speaking on stage and you're just giving off this wisdom from heaven, and you feel like it's not God's wisdom, but it's actually His wisdom, because you're anointed for that. You're called to do that, and so just speak and speak. And there's this person here that has been writing those wisdom that he's been receiving, and he's doubting it. So don't doubt. Give it to God and let Him fill that up. You're probably writing a book, or I don't know, you're probably writing a script for a stage, a speech, or whatever, and it's going to be very influential to a lot of people in your sphere. Yes, and yeah, just receiving more. And I would see angels just giving cups, just giving this certain treasures and gifts to different people, like and like some people, I would see there's like this 3 groups. There's another, these people who are actually just a few of them, and the angels are releasing this gifts and these treasures and these new things to them, and they're actually just a few of them receiving it. Probably it's too new, it's too it's not really in your sphere, or it's probably it's something that's not been in your sphere for a long time. You're probably stuck, kind of. This group of people, I see that they've grown up limited in a way. Probably it's a spiritual limitation, or financial limitation, or even emotional limitation. And the angels of God, they're pouring out all these things that you've been praying for and you've been asking, and even more. But then you are hesitant because of the belief systems. So we ask, Lord, that you release them from these certain belief systems that are not serving them anymore. And it's not really the belief system that God has for them. So let's take that freedom. Let's declare freedom into that area. And and also I would see like one of these person is actually like standing out, but then they're feeling like an outcast in this kind of setup. And so there's all these emotions and doubts. And it's okay to just move on to the next. You don't need to give your pearl to the swine anymore. Just move on, and God will just release you to the right people you will serve. And the next group of people I see are basically, I could see that they're very anointed ones, like calling of Moses, even Caleb and Joshua. They're mighty men and women of God, and they've been through a lot. And even people who are not in the sphere of this godly stuff, but then they have been, like they have these mandates, they have this calling, and they're receiving these things that are not usually being given to the people of God, because they're open. So they're receiving these downloads, and they're helping a lot of people because of that. And these mighty men and women of God that I'm seeing are actually, being sent into a lot of these people, a lot of these kinds of people who would tell them, hey, God is with you, and the divine is with you. You're a part of this. And so there's this level of boldness that's being given to you, and you've actually been hidden for a while because you don't want to be mingling with this kind of people, and all those hesitations and limitations. But now you are actually being graced to reach out, or to be, like mingling with certain people that are not usually like, ooh, I don't want to be mingling with that. But now it's your turn, it's your time, because you've matured, you've grown. And probably before it has been halted for a while because we cannot resist the temptation or whatever you struggle yet. But now it's the time you can actually go back to those people, or like you can actually mingle with them without any form of whatever self-righteousness, because you can relate with them, you can actually understand their hearts, and you see them as how God, and you see them as the divine that God has been looking and seeing them too. Yeah. So, and another of these part are, and these people, I would see them, wow, like they are in the horses. Like there's really spirit-led people, but then they're being overlooked a lot. Like, oh, they feel alone most of the time, but they're like the ones who are really close in the Father's heart. And I'm seeing this a lot actually in certain mystical Christian groups and a lot of spiritual groups, that they feel like they have this deeper level of intimacy, or this deeper level of engaging with the spirit realm and with God, and they couldn't actually relate to a lot. So it's been somehow a lone ranger, but they're doing well, and God sees their heart, God honors it. And now I see the angels are pouring out all these blessings, all these desires of their hearts, because they've been very, very faithful. And if it's you, then yes, whatever you're praying for, whatever you're asking for, now is the time. I think what you've been through was for you to really have the heart of God, have agape love, like all of those things that you've been through are not just to be a candlestick or just a wallpaper, but it's because you are made to really go deep down into the higher, deeper levels of God's love, and so that you can release that to others, even if they're against you, even if they're not in sync with you. But then I would see that your frequency, your authority and anointing in this group of people are beyond, so people can actually feel that and all those things, and yeah, they couldn't deny it. So you don't need to actually say a lot of words, just your presence, the manifestation of your presence is enough to fill in the room with God's presence. So I could see that, and those groups of people are, really being given so much at this time. Like I would see the clock like turning back. So this is the time of redeeming the time. Like I see lots of leaping, probably people who will probably go back in time and just do something miraculous. That's I would be seeing, like rewind, but nothing is impossible with God, like leaping in timelines. That's what I would see. I think that's what many in the body right now that's been practicing and been walking in. And this season, we can no longer deny it. That's what I'm seeing. We can no longer say no to it. We can no longer hide beyond religious and fearful veils, because it's time to really get into that portal, into that realm. And so I would also see people who would be, I would see this reptiles, all these reptilian stuff. So I believe this is also the time for the fall of the cabal, the fall of the fallen DNA, the fallen nature, and the automosomes, the DNA, the bloodline. So I could see a lot of healing, a lot of restoration. I would see a lot of these anatomy cells, and in the scientific visuals of it that I cannot really name what's the exact name of it, but I could see that there's a lot of altering of DNA, or resetting and healing through Christ and Yeshua, and from all these cabal, like this reptilian seeds, or this curses, bloodline DNA curses. It is the time for the new. It's the time for the new earth, redeeming. That's what we've been seeing. It's really redeeming to the highest level, not just the flesh, but also the soul, the fragments of the soul, and all those things. Yeah, I could hear the fall of the cabal, and also I would see a lot of these herbs, a lot of these plants, and a lot of these things. And I would hear, like many of you here would be receiving a lot of downloads pertaining medical, probably medical medication, herbal or alternative medicine medication that would probably heal a lot of people, and God will give wisdom to some of you here that would mix and do this, and even advanced technology. And some of you here are scientists or inventors, and you're actually doing it. You're actually doing a lot of those things, and you have been given. I could see that heaven is just opening up to those people that are openly receiving it. So if some of you here, I would hear that if you are someone who's actually wanting to really go and walk in the calling and what you are really called to do, but you don't know how, just picture out the light of heaven falling into you and releasing all these releasing all the blueprints, the scrolls, the mandates that you have, because your mind, your imagination is very powerful, and it belongs to the Lord. And if you give it to God, if you sanctify it to the Lord, He will use it. He will show you things. So there's also a lot of clearing in the, I could see in the throat center, because I would feel it too. And there's a lot of healing of the heart and the way people speak, the way people have been stopped from speaking. So there's a lot of clearing in this part of our bodies, our system, and it's time for some to really speak. I can see that a lot of people are called to voice out, but they cannot because it's been blocked by certain blockages, emotional, and also by some demonic entities. And so yeah, just take it to God, and I would see that, and we cut it off, Lord. We just remove it. That's it, by your blood, by your power. And also I would see familiar faces here, but then these people are actually, I would see that God is really honoring them, and that the work that they're doing, the pioneering that they're doing, it cost them a lot, and God honors the sacrifices that they've done. And for some people here, they're really called to so much, but they're not walking in it. I can see that. There's a lot of like nets. I would see like they're going, but then the net is stopping them, and it's the net of limitation, the poverty mindset, or the limit of religious beliefs, and a lot of other things. Let's see, and even like belittling the self-worth, low self-worth, low self-esteem, depression. Even I would see people who have been handicapped, decapitated. It would feel like they're not going to be used, but that's a lie. You are much needed. You are much needed. You are much needed in this new thing that God is doing in this earth, in this world, in this world that we're in this heaven on earth that God is doing and sending out right now. So you are not outlisted, you are not outcast, you belong. And I would see like marriages as well, and God has been putting a lot of people into certain marriages, into certain relationships, because God's will is to produce and to actually release the love of the bride in the church, as well, a symbol or a symbolism. And I would see that God is really putting a lot of people into marriages. I know people are probably like, oh, it's it's pandemic right now. Just what I'm seeing. That's where we will see how God works. So yeah, I would see a lot of just like downloads to prophets, just people who have been called into the prophecy and prophets. I would see that they're being restored and rejuvenated and being healed to the highest and deepest levels and into the inner core, and they will be making their own sound again. Not the sound of others, but their own sound, the sound that God has uniquely for them. So it's more on the individuality that God has for you, and there's no time for oh this, oh that. It's you and God, your blueprint, your mandate. So we release that right now to all those people, to all those who have been called in that. And yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of, and I would also see a lot of body parts that need healing. I would really see healing. People have been praying for healing, and emotional, mental, physical. I would see body parts being given new organs, even new hearts, and new bloodline, or the bloodline of Yeshua. You claim it. We are in communion with Him. There is no separation. And yeah. So for everyone here, I pray that you all will experience God deeply, widely, and higher in higher realms, and even into the deepest parts of your soul, of your hearts that have not been touched, will be touched right now, because you're so loved, you are so honored, you're so well deserving of this relationship with God, of this healing, wholeness, heaven on earth. You are deserving because you are loved, and you are the apple of His eyes. I hope that resonates with you. And Stella, have a lovely night. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.